I'm honored to be here with you, and I admit it is a humbling experience. After all, I am but a simple country lawyer from Detroit. And in many ways, it is appropriate that I be here with you Southern Republicans, because I live in southeastern Michigan. I'll take what I can get. Red eye, yes. Now, I have to admit that it's a very difficult time in the life of our nation. As we all know, we are called upon to once again define freedom. And yet I'm very optimistic that we will. I know that optimism is not always the trait that is most associated with Irish Catholics. So if you do not believe me, strike it up to my being a contrarian. What we hear so much today is apocalyptic cries that the best days of America are behind her. We have heard such cries in the past, and they've always proven wrong. And yet when I'm back home in Livonia, at the supermarket, wearing my long-suffering Detroit Lions jersey, people come up and they say, "Are you him?" And I say, "Well, that depends if you like him or not." And then they whisper, "You're him." And I too am a Republican. And I say, "Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful." And he says, "I just have one fundamental question for you." I say, "What's that?" He says, "Dude, what is going on?" And so in the middle of a supermarket, in the middle of a grocery store, a drugstore, I will try to explain what was going on. And I'll try to do it quickly, because in that instance at home, I have the same 10 minutes to solve all the world's problems that I do here today. So I explained to my constituent, the person who employs me and the person that I work for, that the United States faces four great challenges. We face the social, economic, and political upheavals of globalization. We face a world war against an evil enemy. We face the rise of the communist Chinese superstate as a strategic threat and rival model of governance. And we face the question of whether a nation built upon self-evident truths can withstand the cancerous erosion of them through moral relativism. And my constituent looks at me and he says, "I appreciate that. But what are we Republicans? What do we stand for anymore? What are we going to do?" And I say, well, the Republican Party continues to have core goals. We expand liberty and self-government. We conserve our cherished institutions of faith, family, community, and country. We empower the American people to achieve necessary constructive change. And we defend America from her enemies, and we support her allies. And in pursuing these goals, we have 5 fundamental principles. Our liberty is from God, not the government. Our sovereignty is in our souls and hearts, not the soil or a scepter. Our security is from strength, not surrender or appeasement. Our prosperity is from the private sector, not the public sector. And our truths are self-evident, not relative. And my constituent says, "Can you apply those challenges facing America?" And I will say, yes, we can, and as House Republicans, we have. When we saw a $1 trillion government stimulus bill that would only drive us further in debt and do nothing to create long-term sustainable job creation, We all said no. But more importantly, we all said the better way was to let the American people keep the money they earn, and through their virtuous genius, entrepreneurial ability, and industriousness, allow them to grow this economy. When it came to cap and tax, we again said no. We said we wanted an all-of-the-above energy strategy that maximizes American domestic energy production, that goes for common sense conservation and supports free market green innovations so that we can have a responsible transition to a secure energy future. And on the issue of health care, when the summit of Blair House came up, we had nothing to talk about because we had a fundamental difference with this administration. Well, actually, we had two. The first, that we oppose government-run health care because we believe that the sovereign citizens of the United States deserve to make those decisions themselves and are best empowered to do it through patient-centered wellness and free market reforms. But more importantly, the crux of the matter to us was this: no administration and no Congress has the right to divide and defy the American people's judgment about their own health care. And my constituent said he appreciated that. He appreciated that we were trying. And I said, well, we're not just trying. And you don't get off that easy if you're my constituent. Because fundamentally, we have a difference with the Democratic Party that will have to be settled in November. They measure progress by the expansion of big government and bureaucracy. We measure progress by the expansion of self-government and liberty. And I believe that the people will be heard in November. And that as we go forward, we will one day look back on the day that we too had to have our voices heard, and we too made our stand as Republicans, as has so often happened in the history of our party. We will then have fulfilled our duty, for we have inherited the greatest nation on earth, and there will be no doubt that we will bequeath it to our children and future free citizens. We will do all within our power to ensure that America remains a blessed land of liberty, inspired and guided by the virtuous genius of her free people, and eternally blessed by the unfathomable grace of God. And with that, my constituent looked at me and he said, I may vote for you. And so I thanked my brother Dennis and went home. To know Dinky is to love him. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to be in your presence of the Republicans of the South who will help us all rise again. Build the party, trust the people, save the country.